We have about 15 minutes for questions.
Should Jim respond? You'll have your chance. Okay, you'll have your chance. Good.
Okay. Linda, that was absolutely wonderful. I can't wait until it comes out in video so I can actually slow it down enough to absorb it.
Thank you.
There was a huge amount in there. What I really liked was your definition that organizations develop recursively from meta-conversations of multiple communities of practice. Personally, I feel that's absolutely right on. You used the phrase communities of practice several times, but like you said that Jim resisted the concept of power, I've felt, rightly or wrongly, Jim can jump in if he wants, that he's resisted this, although in my view Wenger has got very, very similar antecedents to a lot of the work that Taylor does. Perhaps Jim's resistance is because Wenger has no theory of communication in his study of communities of practice. But my question really is, I think it's very worthwhile to try and further integrate Taylor and Wenger's work. I'm wondering if you agree with that, and if so, how would we go about it? How might it evolve? Huge questions.
Okay, very good question. I concur. I mean, I think the problem in borrowing anything that is already developed and has its own theoretical orientations carries baggage. That's the problem with power in my mind, is it carries a lot of baggage in it, in that you want to get at the inactive and the layering of text around that, but you don't want to carry that baggage. And I'm afraid communities of practice probably has that too. But I think to continually just talk in meta-conversations and different meta-conversations becomes very difficult, because these are intertextually embedded. They're embedded in ways in which not only are they recursively linked to the past and the present, but they're also recursively linked to each other, and I hate to use the word contextually, in some way. And I find that communities practice gives me a way of saying that all these meta-conversations are really not alike. And the things they do when we pull in, and I'll give the example again of and I asked this question, Gail Fairhurst and Francois Corin did a paper on leadership in the body, and it was men in it. I asked the question, how would you tease that out if it were women, if it was a woman in it? And I would say you couldn't do it without putting in other conversations. Lots of, not among those people, not among the context it was in, which was a political discourse or whatever, but among a larger social community of practice that I think is there around that. Now, I don't want to reify gender anymore because I know it's going to be appropriated in it, but it's going to be appropriated differently as a result of the way those texts interface with each other. I don't know if that helps you. Good.
Yes. In your discussion of the tensions in the multi and univocal, you presented ways in which stories are carried out in the narratives, simultaneously enacting and juxtaposing voices. I'd like to know why is there a need to do so? Is it to figure out multiple dimensions and perspectives? What do you
Yeah, very good question. And the reason I'm so intrigued with, and this is a more recent development, I think, in some of Taylor's work, the reason I'm intrigued with this is I really believe these contestations get at the unpredictability, the instability, the things that kind of trigger new ways in which conversations and text emerge. And so I really believe it's also a way to get at presuming that all of these lead to, in some way, a stable or an imbricated pattern system. And I concur. I don't know that that's true. And so one way of teasing that out. Also, one of the things that intrigues me most about contestation is it puts all the dialectics back in. When you get dissensus and consensus together and you get kind of notions of struggle in there, they then help build what's going on within it. So it provides a conceptual lens, in my mind, to begin to look at it.
Oh, hi, Linda. I want to congratulate you, too. That was absolutely outstanding, and it was especially interesting because it seems to start a great conversation with Taylor's text, and it's really generated it at a new level. Yeah, one text. Yeah, I guess I had the same question, or the same focus of question,
Okay.
you know, the meta-conversation issue, and it's dealing with univocality and multivocality.
Right.
And narrative is a point of issue for it. In narratives, or at least in Greimas's model of the narrative, as I, to a very limited
Taylor
extent,
uses.
know about it, there's a tendency toward, I guess, conflict unification or conflict integration. You know, it isn't a matter that it isn't a model of conflict resolution.
Yeah.
You know, there's a sense in which you have opponents, you have points of view that will be not, you know, dominant and so forth. And in the meta-conversation article,
That's highlighted.
the authors really talk, I can't tell you which three, really talk about, you know, a difference between included and excluded voices. And so I guess I'm wondering, is there any way that you see of going toward a more conflict resolution sense of conversation and meta-conversation?
Very good. And I don't think when I see contestation, I see it in exactly the same way. And I do believe that one of the things that happens in conflict resolution is people reach a point to move forward. And that may be that the meta-actors emerge in ways, or a particular representation emerges, or in some way a meta-text orients people differently to each other. That's what I've seen in transformative conflict management, is a very different orientation that comes out of it, where people then redefine the situation. They reframe what they're in and what they're doing. And so I concur with you that I don't believe that's in the narratology model that's being used, but I think it can be and should be, to try to look at how those contestations work out in the narratives. Because it's more than villains and heroes and voices and voices inside and voices outside. They are in a set of dynamic actions in their conversations, and they are in a set of working toward co-orientation, moving forward to get something done. And I don't even use the word conflict resolution anymore, because I really believe it's managing to move forward, to get somewhere where we can actually see the situation to move forward. They may recur in different forms, a lot of these contestations, but moving forward is the direction. Good.
First, on behalf of Francois and myself, it was mostly men. But my real
Good.
question,
Thank you. Mostly, you're right. There
Mostly.
was one.
Okay. Actually, though, my question is this. Jim doesn't like the word organizational discourse very much,
I know.
as you know. But Boris introduced you as an organizational discourse scholar.
Good.
Talk about the two terms, discourse and communication, if you will. Jim clearly favors the latter. Where do you fall?
Okay. Oh, very good, very good. I hate to try to read why Jim dislikes the word discourse. I have heard discussions of it, though, and I believe it also carries a lot of baggage, honestly, and it means anything to a lot of people. It's become Foucauldian and